One of the features of Pascal Mod JE is it allows you to mimic the construction of Pascal Triangle Mod N to a more general setting where you can look at a broader class of mathematical structures. In this video, we're going to look particularly at the seed and update rule options. We'll start with the seed, and to get off the ground, let's look at Pascal's Triangle Mod 8, similar to how we did it in the last video. All right, got the first, I think, 100 rows here. Let me change it to the first 64 rows. I'll put in 63, so we're doing rows 0 through 63. And there we have the Mod 8 triangle. Now, if you notice here, we have ones down both sides of this triangle, which is the standard construction for Pascal triangle and Pascal triangle mod n. However, maybe we'd like to change that. So if you want to do something else, click on the seed tab right here. The default looks like this. And let's say I just, instead of want to put one down both sides, I want to put something different. So let's say I want to do three down both sides. So I'll change that to three. I'll click on the image tab, and there it is. It looks very similar to the previous image, but if you notice, you've got that dark blue down both sides, which is three rather than the black, which represented the one. We could do other values as well. So if we want to do, say, 7, okay, we're working mod 8, so we need something between 0 and 7. So I'll do this value. And again, we get a picture that's similar but different because of that now purple down the sides. Let's try an even value. So let's switch this to a 2. Refresh our image. Now, in this case, something different happened. We have a little bit of a recoloring. You're seeing the black again down both sides, but now the black represents 2 rather than 1. But the bigger distinction here is we're only seeing 4 colors rather than 8. Okay, and the reason is I put an even down both sides, and because evens plus evens always give us evens, we're not going to be able to generate the odd elements mod 8. So we're only going to get 0, 2, 4, and 6. What happens if we try a different even value? Well, if we do 6, okay, get a very similar image. Again, colors have changed around a bit, but very similar to what we saw in the previous example. Let's try a 4, though. Something interesting will happen here. Okay. If you notice with 4 down both sides, we're only getting 2 colors. And in fact, this looks very similar to Pascal's triangle mod 2. In fact, it really is, although that's not how we're computing it. What we're doing here is we're putting 4 down both sides of the triangle. We're using mod 8 addition to generate the interior using Pascal's triangle, but it is in fact giving us a structure that's really the same thing as Pascal's triangle mod 2. All right. Another thing we can do with the seed is we don't have to put just one value down both sides. So if you'd like to do two different values, I'm going to add a second column. All right. And so maybe I want to put 4 and 3 down the sides. Okay. And this gives us a different type of picture. The interior is still being generated the exact same way, but instead of having a single value down both sides of the triangle, we've got the 4 on the left and the 3 on the right. Okay, I could do this with maybe a 4 and a 6. Okay. And in this case, we only got 4 colors again. I think similar to an example we saw few cases ago, you might understand what's going on with this, but we're not getting all 8 colors. We're only getting the evens once again. For a seed, you could even get a little bit more creative. Let's say I want to have 5 columns rather than 2. So I could do something like this. All right. Now, here we need to think about what's going to happen. The way the software is going to interpret it is we are going to have a 4 down the left side of the triangle because of that value right there. We're going to have a 2 down the right, but we're also going to have some middle values right here in our very first top row, and that's okay. And the interior is generated the exact same way it was before. So for seed, it's not just a question of having one or two different values. You can really have as many as you want. In this case, I had a seed with five values at the very top. A second thing we can alter is the update rule. And if you want to do that, just click on the update rule tab right here. And what you'll notice in this area, the X right here, that's actually the position in the interior of the triangle that we want to be updating. And what this is saying, and this is the default, is we're really just adding the two entries above it, the A just to the left, the B to the right, and we're doing whatever the operation is. Now, so far we've been doing just mod in arithmetic. So that star right there for A star B would really mean A plus B mod in. But later on, we'll get into some more general structures. Okay, and this is really Pascal's rule in the software syntax. However, let's say we want to do a different update. I'm going to add another column right here. And let's say I put a value C right there, go up to my rule, and now instead of combining two things, I'm combining three things, and that's going to replace this value X in the interior triangle. Now, right now, we're still doing mod 8 arithmetic, so we'd really just be doing A plus B plus C mod 8. Okay, do my image, and we get something that looks like that. Notice how it's kind of skewed. That's because the update rule. There is an option right here. You can either align these triangles as a pin, bowling pin, which has been how we've been doing Pascal's trial mod n. You can also stack them up in columns. And for certain update rules like this one, you'll see the column representation looks a little bit nicer than the pin representation. Sometimes that's just something you play with depending on which particular example you're working with. All right. You can also do an update rule. You don't have to use consecutive cells. So maybe I'd like to, let's do this. I'm going to skip that cell, but then use this location right here. So I'm still using three va cell values. So I'm doing, A plus B plus C mod 8 in this case, but I'm skipping a position right there. The update rule tab allows you to do that. And there we have different type of picture. You can also do something like this. So if I wanted to, I'm going to insert another B right there. So now what my update saying is in the into the triangle, when I want to update this position, I'm going to use this value here. Then I'm going to use this one twice, and then finally this one. So with our mod 8 arithmetic, this will be A plus B plus B plus C mod 8. And that gives us yet a different type of image. So the seeds and the update rules, and you can combine these. You can change the update rule and change the seed, all kinds of different combinations right here. In the next video, what we'll do is we'll start looking at not just doing mod in arithmetic, but let's change our set of colors as well and maybe change our operation. That's going to give us a whole new interesting class of objects that we can look at. But we'll save that for the next video and stop here.